Right, good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Holton from ProHas Health and Safety Consultancy. Tonight, my guests, well, there are three wise men. So we're going to chat to them about winter preparation, what you need to do, why you should do it, and if you don't, what could actually happen if you don't prep your cars accordingly to make sure they're nice and safe. So first of all, can we start with Mr. McCartney, Allan McCartney? Can you introduce yourselves and tell me who you are, what you do?
Okay, I'm Allan McCartney from Great Coats Motors in Grimsby Van Centre. We carry out service, MOT and repairs to cars, vans and trucks, as well as doing vehicle sales, contract hire and short-term rental as well.
Okay, fantastic. And Paul, over to you.
Hi, my name's Paul Cant. I'm Mr. Exhaust from Mr. Exhaust and Tyre Centre. We're in Grimsby. We specialise in fitting tyres and exhausts on car and light commercial vehicles.
Okay, fantastic. And finally, Jason, a third wise man. Over to you.
Hello, wise. So yeah, I'm Jason Barker from Cars of Grimsby. Our core business is accident repair, and that really we encompass with cars, vans, heavy goods vehicles. We also carry out sort of light maintenance works, including servicing, and we retail used cars.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's get straight into it. So we'll start with Allan. So what's important about prepping your car? What do you need to do? What's your advice? Do we need to look at batteries, kind of antifreeze, those kind of things? Over to you. What do you need to do?
I think at this time of year, the best advice I can give anybody in winter is get yourself into a garage and get yourself a health check. Most garages will do a free visual health safety inspection, normally a 25 point check. And what they'll do is they'll check the condition of your battery for charging systems to make sure everything's charging and working okay. They'll check the condition of your drive belts and they'll also check your levels as well. So they won't just check to make sure, because it's very important in winter. It's not just having coolant in the engine, it's making sure that the coolant's in good condition, right, and it's up to the correct strength, because if it's not, and we do have a really, really cold morning, you could get up one morning and find that your engine is not seized, but it's frozen. It's not got enough antifreeze in it. So that's quite an important thing. Okay. Wiper blades also. Wiper blades and lights, very important at this time of year as well. And just general good condition of the car is something to be paramount, because obviously nobody wants to get stuck in the deepest dark of winter at 10 o'clock on a night.
Yeah, I suppose now it's probably people should have done this before. Now we've reached this kind of time of year already, really. But so they could pop into yourselves and the other garages and get that check and make sure things are nice and well, nice and healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a free visual safety inspection for all our customers. We'll check and top up all the levels. It's completely free of charge. They don't need an appointment. All they've got to do is walk into reception and say, "Can I have a free visual safety inspection?" It doesn't matter whether they're an existing customer or not. We'll do it for all customers.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay. Windscreen wipers, something you can help with. You can fit. Quite often you see, well, listen, we've all seen people with a porthole, haven't we, on the screen when they're just looking through that little bit of ice in the morning. So important to de-ice and clear that screen. And
absolutely, yeah. Wiper blades are very, very important. A lot of people think of wiper blades as not a trivial thing and not important. Well, for somebody that's being stuck on the M1 bringing a car back from London and lost a wiper blade on a sales car, I can vouch for the importance of blades, especially in the rain. So very important to check your wipers and make sure they're in condition. Again, headlamps and bulbs and things like that, make sure they're all working correctly as well.
And of course, keep the windscreen nice and clean and the lights nice and clean as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great. All right, over to Paul. Paul, tell me about, you're the tyre expert, so tell me about tyres. Is the tread important? What kind of depth should it be? Pressures, those kind of things. What do we need to do for winter to make sure everything, well, not just winter, I guess, but all of it?
Tyres are the only contact on the road, so it's very important that you've got the correct tread. Just to let you know what that is, the legal tyre depth is 1.6 millimetres worth of tread over 3/4 of the width of the tyre. So that's the legal limit. So that's something to watch out for. Again, like Allan, if anybody's unsure, unclear, not quite sure what to do, pop into any tyre centre, but we also pop into ourselves. we check them out free of charge, advise people. In regard to inflation, it's important that you have the correct tyre pressure, because underinflation can cause problems as well as overinflation. And also, if it's not at the correct pressure, the tyres won't last as long. And also, it then becomes dangerous because you only the width of the tyre won't be in the full contact of the road. So it's important that's correct too. So yeah. So there we go.
What about? I mean, obviously, winter. People talk about winter tyres. Is that something you should consider? What's the benefit of that?
Yes, they do. I mean, the winter tyres are now becoming more popular now than what they were before. Just to give you a bit of information on that, I think people view winter tyres as being the fact that the tread is really, really chunky. That's not actually, that is true, but not actually the reason. A winter tyre, the tyre compound is a lot softer than an ordinary tyre, right, because it's all about temperature. A normal tyre will go down, the rubber is very hard or quite hard. So to cope with it running throughout the summer as well. Whereas a winter tyre, the rubber's a lot softer. Right. So when it goes down, then it'll work the same as a normal tyre in the summer, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. What about I think back to years ago when I go for my mini metro and get tyres changed. Should you stick to the same type of tyres for each wheel, or does it matter if you mix it up a little bit? Or
we can mix them up. Yeah. I mean, so the tyre industry is not really. Tyres are down to personal choice. What we find is that you get a car owner who wants, say, a branded tyre, wants them all the same. You get a person who might be selling the car, so they won't maybe not want a branded tyre, they want a budget tyre. So each tyre sale is different to the previous one, and it doesn't really matter what make of car it is.
Right.
It's just down to personal choice, really.
Okay. All right. Great. So so tyres, correct inflation, correct tread, nice safe tread. And then once again, they can pop into any garage or pop in, see you, and get those checked out. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's not a problem at all. They can come in, we'll check them out free of charge, give them advice, and we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I guess if people haven't done what we've just talked about with you two chaps, then they might end up seeing Jason perhaps in some cases. So Jason, tell me a little bit about what you do, and can you tell me a little bit about, I guess, some of the safety things that are built into cars, any systems and radars and different things?
Yeah, absolutely. Things have changed somewhat, more so over the last sort of 5 years. And we're seeing a lot of these safety systems on cars these days. And the big difference is that back in the day, cars had very little. We saw the introduction of sort of seat belts and airbags, and they were what we call sort of passive safety systems. So they work if we have a bump. So, your airbag will inflate on impact. More and more now in cars, we're seeing active safety systems. So things that sit in the background. So we've got things like cameras and radar and all sorts of things going on around us that are monitoring the surroundings. And it was interesting listening to you speaking a minute ago when you were talking to Allan about the porthole in the window. The thing with these safety systems on vehicles, they need to see just like we do. So, if a screen's got some snow on there, or the headlamps, or if like a Volkswagen or anything in the Audi Volkswagen group, a lot of their radars are now in the front grille. So if there's snow on there, we need to clear that down. And people don't sort of realise all these sorts of things. When we talk about tyres being good, in good order for, to meet the stopping distances, etc. Well, we've become used to systems on cars, so we do allow them to start braking for us. Well, if the systems aren't able to see the surroundings, then braking distances, it's kind of irrelevant. So those cars, do end up in here. We often see like the sort of low winter sun, where systems and camera systems don't work as well as they do, during sort of the summer. We see, some sort of back end shunts and that sort of thing. These systems are affected quite a lot, even by simple things like if you go driving through a tunnel and you're under like sodium light in them, or it's very dark, and then you come out into the light. These things have got to very quickly adjust. So there are situations where the cameras and the radars do struggle. So you can imagine if they're going to struggle in those environments, then harsh environments such as snow and ice and everything else, it's severely inhibited. When it comes to working correctly. So the big thing about radar and camera is that you've got to imagine that they're looking straight ahead, or they're looking where they're supposed to be looking. If the car's angles on the thrust angle of the car, so let's say the steering angle is slightly out from the back, or the back axle is slightly out, the car's sort of looking the wrong way. So we need to do these things throughout the whole of the year. So we need to make sure that the geometry is correct on the car. So when we come into winter, these systems are working at the very best, because, like I say, we do end up relying on the safety systems. So it's the little things in the background. My advice to anybody would be, when we're talking about safety systems on vehicles, is read the handbook, because as we come into winter, they are inhibited. You can imagine if you've got lane assist on your car. So some systems will give you a warning, so they'll let you know there's a vehicle coming up on the outside, or they'll let you know if you're straying out of lines, and the mirrors flash. You've probably seen from vehicles. Yeah. But some more modern vehicles, like my wife drives a little Audi Q3, and that will actually, if you veer out of the lane, it will steer you back in.
Right.
So she hates it. Some people love it, but some people rely on it. Some people don't. Yeah. You can imagine if you're driving down a road and there's a bit of snow on the road, you're taking it steady. These things can't see the lanes anymore.
Right.
So, like I said, my advice would be to read handbooks, know and understand, these systems that are there to help in the background, because they do help. They're fantastic. Accidents are less and less and less. So there's far fewer accidents on the road now, which is fantastic. Yeah. But we need to know and understand a little bit more about the systems.
And have you seen that vehicles come in because that case that people haven't looked after or made sure that their devices are nice and safe? And
I haven't yet personally, and it's a real big thing. There have been cases where vehicles have been repaired, or they've had geometry altered on the vehicle, and then the cameras or the radars have not been recalibrated. And I know there's been a few court cases going on, and there are some going on at the moment where like I say, accidents have been caused by cameras that have not been recalibrated. So it's serious. It's serious business. I think the issue is, if you put a windscreen in the vehicle, like most people now, they won't go to a main dealer. They'll phone, your local or your national windscreen replacement company. They'll come and put a new screen in. But once you've had that screen in, if you've got, one of these systems in, you've got a camera in the top of the screen, potentially that camera's now pointing the wrong way. But, it might cost 300, 400, 500 quid to replace the screen, but then it might cost again another 300 quid to recalibrate the system. So right. There's a lot of instances where the whole job, isn't done correctly. So it is serious business. I think the cost of recalibration will come down, although it is quite expensive at the moment. But I think that's what drives, the lack of doing the job properly, if you will. So, yeah. It's early days, Richard. I think it was from 2017, early 2017, where vehicles to meet the highest rating of safety on NCAP had to have some form of ADAS. Safety. So it is becoming more and more. It's like back in the day, if you drove a Mercedes S-Class, it had everything on it, and then 10 years later, your little hatchback had some of those systems. Yeah. So it does filter down, and you will find that practically everything on the road within a very short space of time will have some form of safety system, because we're working towards autonomous driving. Yeah. And ultimately these cars are loaded with these devices. So what we're really doing is testing them all out and getting ready for that day. We'll probably not see it in our lifetime, fortunately. But,
probably not. But you're right, we are seeing those kind of things, and lane changes and so on. But yeah, it's good. The automatic braking as well. I've seen cars that you can have a system that will start to slow you down as well, won't it? And so
well, a lot of those. I mean, you can see them if you look at the Volkswagen Golf, for instance. You will see a little black box on the early ones below the number plate. Some of them have got it in the grille. So if you see a Mercedes with a Mercedes star in the grille, but it looks classy, that's got a system behind it rather than the conventional silver star type. So they are there they're absolutely everywhere. And if you look around and keep your eyes open for it now, you'll definitely see plenty of them.
Okay. And just back to you, Paul. What about budget tyres? Is there a massive difference between the different types of tyres?
Well, yes, absolutely. It's price mainly. A lot of there's basically three grades. There's the branded tyre, which is the Pirelli, Bridgestone, Goodyear type, and then there's the mid-range, which is the sort of a mid-range, the budget ones. So yeah, there's basically three grades.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So listen, we've kind of covered what you need to do in terms of prepping, the MOT, the health check, as you say, for much like you do on a human, we should have, but you're checking the cars for various things, windscreen wipers, oils, obviously antifreeze and so on. We talked about the tyres, the importance of make sure they're inflated to the correct level, the treads suitable. And obviously we've talked to Jason about kind of the systems built into cars that, the safety systems that perhaps could go wrong if you don't kind of look after them or learn, I guess, and educate yourself about how they work, what they're there for, and so on. So, gentlemen, three wise men, I thank you for your time tonight. For anyone that's watching this back, please follow the details below. If you want to have a chat with these fine gentlemen, have a chat about tyres, prepping your cars, or the systems, or repairs, and so on, please get in touch with them. Details will be below. Until then, gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you very much and appreciate you joining me tonight. Cheers.
Thanks, Rick.